was just walking into my stand. Look at this guy looking at me. Look at him. He was actually in an old groundhog hole looking in the hole. Alright, time for me to get in my tree stand. Look at the old coon right there. There, he's gonna go up the tree. He's still looking at me. There he goes. Alright, time for me to get in the tree. Gonna do an evening sit. After work here. I got about an hour. I just ran into a big coon on the trail coming in. He's actually, his head was stuck in a groundhog hole. All that was sticking out was his ass and his tail. And he came up in front of me on the path. He was only about 3 feet in front of me. And he walked across and then he climbed up into a tree right next to me here, about 20 yards from me. Oh, there's a deer. There's a deer coming. That deer is right in here. She's right here. I can't quite see her. She's in that thick stuff there. I think it was a doe, but I'm not 100% sure. I just got a shot at a buck. A 6-pointer. He was 10 yards right in front of my tree. Oh, I hope I made a good hit on him. He ran right in down behind me. I'm listening I heard him lay over, but he's in some thick stuff down there. I can see my illuminated. He was right, he was right under my tree. Oh, I hope I made a good hit on him. Whew. Right, there's my arrow. You see the nock? Look it up. Oh man, I hope I got him. It sounded like it hit him hard, but the light is low. Okay, I got hair right. Look at the big clump of hair right there. You see where the arrow exited out of it? And it is covered. It is covered. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got good blood on that arrow. And here, there's more hair. I'm hoping we're gonna find this buck. Okay. I'm tracking this deer. I tracked him down the hill. I'm gonna say I'm about 70 yards behind my, well, maybe not even that. It's hard for me to tell because it's just pitch black. It is pitch black. I have the four-wheeler parked on top of the hill there. I didn't see much blood. I couldn't see much blood in the leaves. I had a little bit of a blood trail. I mean, my arrow is soaked. It's soaked in blood, just like that when I hit the doe. I tell you what, I am freaking pumped. I am pumped. This will be my first archery antlered deer. I shot a lot of does, but this is the first antlered buck with archery gear. Shot him with my crossbow. It was, man, I gotta find him. You gotta find him. Let's go on a little bit further here. Oh, there's some kick marks there. I see some kicks. I heard him running through the woods. He bounded down a little bit, and he stopped. And then I heard a big crash, and it's like, and then I didn't hear anything after that. And it's like, yeah, that's what we want to hear. He's in the thick stuff here. If you can see what I mean, look it. It's like jungle. That was one of the shortest hunts. And you know what? I was just thinking in my, oh wait, there's a white belly. I see a white belly. Oh, I can see the dirt here where he was kicking up. He's kicking up the dirt, kicking up the dirt, kicking up the dirt. This way a little bit. Ah, right there. White belly. Best sight in the world. All right. Yeah. Oh, he's a good sized deer too. Oh yeah. Here we go. Oh, he broke a little. Well, he's one little short point. All right, let's get him on picture. All right, here he lays. Pretty decent body size on him. He's not a light point. Well, 7, that's a small point, but he's got 3 up on that side. See some ticks on him. There's the hull right over the shoulder. Tucked it right against that front shoulder blade. Man, he didn't last long. Like I said, it's hard for me to see my stand, but he probably only went 60 or 70 yards. He just got caught in the tree. I could hear him stumbling as he was running it. But look at his neck is pretty thick on him. Oh. Got the light right. There we go. I'll take it any day. Put a lot of work into that. Put a lot of work and effort into that. Now more work begins. I gotta get him out and get him home. The landowner actually let me borrow his 4-wheeler, and I have it parked at the top of the hill, so I have to drag him out to that. And then we're gonna winch him down to the car. All right. Oh, I'm super happy with that. Super happy with that. 2 tags filled in both in archery season. I can't go on. You can't go on. Yeah, there it is. Big arrow. Going home with the buck. Here somewhere. There it is. Away we go. What an awesome evening. I won't forget that hunt for a long time. Here he is on the meat pole. There he is. This was the exit. There's the exit hole. Right there. And this was the entry hole. Right here. So we took it right just above the top, the shoulder blade there. And then it exited right there. There's the exit hole. It's a large body size buck. His rack isn't huge, but I'm well happy with it. Well happy with that. Actually, it took me and my son to hoist him up on the winch. We both had to lift him up. You get a decent look at him now. Pretty big deer. What a night. What a night. That was a short hunt. I wasn't even in the tree stand 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I seen one underdog, I seen a coon, and this guy showed up. I mean, literally, he came out of nowhere. He walked right down the edge of the cut corn where the soybean used to be. He came right in front of me, gave me a 10-yard shot. That's why the hole is so high on that side. 10-yard shot. I wasn't passing that up. I wasn't passing that up. He sees in his winter coat already. He's got a thick hair on him. Really like to weigh him. He's probably over 200 pounds. All right, now the work really starts. Yeah, what a night. An exciting night, for sure. It was so quick. Like I said, I wasn't even in the tree stand for 20 minutes. I shot the deer. I got in the tree stand about 5 minutes to 6. I shot the deer 6:15. Quick after work hunt. I'd done that a couple of seasons ago. I went out in early muzzleloader season. I had a doe tag for early muzzleloader season, and I left straight after work. I drove to an area of state land that's close to where I work. I was sitting in the field, on the edge of a field, for about 10-15 minutes, and with that, 3 does walked out 50 yards from me, and I shot one of them, and the hunt was over in 20 minutes. It's like, it just goes to show you gotta spend. I mean, I've spent the last few weeks, every Saturday that I've had off, I spent all day from dark to dark sitting in the tree stand. And I've seen deer, but this is the first legal buck that I've seen. And it's also my first antlered archery buck. Like I said earlier, I'd shot those, and I'd shot small little button bucks and stuff like that with my bow, but never an antlered buck. So I'm dead pleased with that. Yeah, I won't forget that for a long time. It was a lot of work, but it paid off. Landowner really helped me out tonight. Let me use his ATV. We used the winch on the ATV to pull the deer up the hill. The deer actually ran directly down behind the tree stand. I seen it when it occurred. So when you're using the illuminated nock on the arrow, and I could watch the arrow right through the scope. I could see the arrow hitting the deer. It blew right through the deer, and then the deer took off. And I got some video. You can see the arrow laying right in the ground in front of me. And I watched the deer when he ran, and he kicked up immediately when I shot it, and then he ran down into the woods directly behind my stand, and I heard a crash, and he piled up, and I didn't hear any noise after that. So I was hoping that he was in that little wood thicket that was below my stand, and he was. I'll know better when I see it in daylight, but he was about 60 to 70 yards behind, directly behind my tree stand. I didn't have a real good blood trail. I mean, you can see the deer was well hit, and he didn't make it too far, and it really whacked him. I mean, one blade on the broadhead is broken. I don't know whether it tipped his shoulder or whether it hit a rock when it went in the ground. It may have done that too, but I have the broadhead here, actually. See why it's missing a piece of and it's bent up pretty good too. And like I said, that field is pretty rocky, so it may have broke on a rock. But the arrow was, I mean, it's, look it, covered in blood, head to toe. That's what you want to see when you get one with the bow. That's what you want. Yeah, archery hunting is nerve-wracking because it's not like a gun where I mean, sometimes too, they'll take off with a gun hit, but if you hit him in the right spot with a gun, he's just going to drop like a sack of rocks. Boom, down he goes. But with the bow, you know, you try your best to make a good shot, but it's always risky. You know, you can hit one long and the deer can run a long way. You don't want to push it. You want to always, it's always best to wait. It is always best to wait and not push that animal. If he's got a marginal hit, or you hit it a little far back and you think you might have hit the liver, you know, it's never worth, you know, pushing the deer to try and, you know, you want to make a recovery, you want to make the recovery, but it's always best to wait, you know, be patient. Now, after I shot this deer, I texted the landowner and told him I shot a deer and I think I have a deer down. And I brought all my stuff out back to the cabin. I left it there, and then I went down to my car. I got a light, and then I drove back up to the stand, and I went looking for the deer. So I'd left the deer at least 45 minutes because I didn't want to push it if I wasn't 100% sure of the hit. I showed you the video right after the hit where you could see the hair, and you know, the arrow was stuck in the ground, and it was blood head to toe. It was like, there was, you know, he was only 10 yards from me. I knew I'd watched the arrow hit him in the chest, but you're still never sure till you have your hands on the deer. So recovery is a big part of archery hunting, you know, being able to track it. And like I said, I didn't really have a good blood trail. It was hard for me to see. Of course, it was pitch black. You'll see that from the video. And tracking blood in leaves and leaf litter is difficult, because it's not like it is in grass, or, you know, if he passes by something green, you can see the blood laying on it immediately. It's much tougher when it's in the leaves. But he didn't go too far. I went to where I thought I heard him crash, and I could see the ground was kicked up, but he was starting to stumble. And then we seen the big white belly, and there he was. So yeah, I'm super pleased with that. We put a lot of work and a lot of effort in. So the tips I showed you pay off. He actually came right to the scent wick that I had put up in front of the stand. He came right to that scent wick. I had doe and heat, Hunter Specialties doe and heat. It's actually 2 doe and heat, a mix that I had on that scent wick, and he came right to it. It's October 26th, so next week is Halloween. And it's always been, you see on a lot of these hunting videos and DVDs and stuff, guys shoot big bucks around Halloween. That's like the prime time. So he's almost a Halloween buck, an archery dream come true. All right, gotta get to work. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys are having a successful hunting season. Okay, here's another autopsy shot before I get blasted with the rain. It's starting to rain. Forewarning, if you don't want to see a lot of blood, look away now, because there's going to be a lot of blood. And the buck here is pretty close to what we did with the doe. And if you can see it here, let me move down this way a little bit into the light. You can see this, I gather, was the entry side. Cut the top of this lung open here. Just missed the top of his heart, and then blew a hole in his lung on the other side there. You can actually see the cut right there. Look at it. There's the hole in it. That's the front of his lung this way. This is his windpipe right here. You can see I cut right through his windpipe and his trachea. There, that's the top of his lung. This was the entry hole. Entry side, top of his lung. I went right over the top of his heart, cut through here, and just blew through that other lung and out. See, there's a good cut hole in it on that side too. So he didn't go very far. Didn't bleed a lot though, but I think the deer had a lot of fat on the inside of it. And sometimes deer with a lot of fat, the fat closes that hole up and they won't leak. Because the exit hole, I'm gonna say, is about 3/4 of a way down from the top of his shoulder blade. It's starting to rain now. Time for me to get this wrapped up. Get cleaned up. and off to processing tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna do a video here of seeing as how I didn't get that buckshot on video. I want to show you exactly where he came and where he stood and where I shot him. Man, sometimes I tell you what, I have an appreciation for any of the guys that do their own self-video, their own hunts and stuff like that. I did make an arm, I'll show you that later. It's from a Realtree Easy Hanger, and I put a tripod mount on it so I can have the camera mounted in the tree with me. I'm gonna try that out. But it is tough to film a hunt on your own when you're, when you're by yourself. That is tough. Because sometimes the deer just don't give you time to react. That deer came up on me, he was there like a ghost. He just appeared out of nowhere. Partly due to this tree behind me here. You can see, if you look right here, you can see my stand in the background there. You can just see the green board in the tree. But he came right down along the edge of the cornfield here. He actually came from over the hill. The soybean used to be here. He came from over the top of the hill and he walked right along the edge of the corn. He walked right along the edge of the corn to the corner here. He came around this way. I have a scent wick in the tree right there. He came in here. He stopped right here. There's my tree. You see the stand right there. There's the scent wick there, and my scrape dripper is right there. My trail camera is right here. He stood here, he stopped, and he just started to lip curl a little bit. And like I said, I'm not even 10 yards from the base of my tree. If you look behind me here, that's where the arrow was laying in the grass there. I remember because I had this little patch of limb here in front of me, which of course is shielding me from him, so if he's looking that way he can't, but I had to shoot just over the top of it so I didn't shoot through it. But he was standing right here. This is where he stood. A perfect broadside shot. I couldn't have asked for any better. When he was hit, then he came this way. He came down past the scrape dripper. He ran down this way right behind my stand. If I face down this way, he ran straight down this way. And straight down the hill this way. I'm gonna look if I can find out where he was. Here's my stand. He ran right underneath me. He ran down this way. It's pretty steep here, as you can see. If I turn the camera this way. And I dragged that deer back up this hill. That wasn't easy. That's why I didn't get it on film. He came down this way. Down through here. Down through here. Into the thick stuff. He's piled up right in here. There's the tree with the old sign on it. Right behind that. That's there. Yeah, he was down in here. Yeah, it rained like crazy yesterday. I came back down to see if I could find any blood, but I couldn't. Yeah, he's right up in here. Right there. Right in the thick junk. And a lot of times that's what they'll do. They'll head for the thickest, nastiest stuff they can find to hide in. Especially the bucks. Some of them are super, super wary. The older they get, the warier they get. Okay, like I thought. Boys are going at it at the gun range today. It must be an IPSC shoot or something. Or IDPA shoot. Okay, like I thought. He was about, I'm gonna say he was 65 to 70 yards behind the tree. And he piled up. That's one last important tip I will give you. He's shooting with archery equipment. Even with gun, it doesn't make any difference, whatever you're shooting. If you shoot at a big game animal like that, I know it's hard to do, and because your adrenaline is pumped up and you're all hyped up and everything, you're excited. The best thing you can do is watch where that animal goes and listen. You know, be quiet, as quiet as you can, and watch where the animal goes and pay attention to the sounds that you hear. Like I said, I could watch the deer as far as I could, and then when he went out of my sight, he started to get into that thick stuff. I couldn't see him anymore. I watched for him in case he turned out and ran out into the soybean here, or in case he went further down into the valley, into the woods here. You know, you listen and pay attention, and that can help you a lot. That can really help you a lot. Listen for that crash if he falls over, or sometimes you won't hear them like that. Sometimes they'll just, you know, they'll just stop and lay down, and then they'll expire. Other times they'll just die running, and you know, they'll fall or crash into a tree like the doe did, and you'll hear that crashing, you'll hear that ruckus and that wallop. And a lot of times that can, you know, really help you in tracking an animal like that, because like I said, they're not going to lay out in the open all the time. A lot of times they head into real thick, nasty stuff, and you know, they're going to hide. And they know this ground way better than you ever will. And they will find the thickest, nastiest spot and hide in it. A lot of times too, if deer are wounded like that, although, like I said, he expired within 60 yards of the tree. He took a mortal hit and basically was dead on his feet. But sometimes if you get like a one lung hit, or you hit it far back and maybe hit the liver, that's going to be a lethal shot, but it's not going to expire immediately. The deer can go a long way, and like I said in the other video, you don't want to push the deer. Let it bed down, let it expire, and then go and find it. A lot of times too, they'll head for water. If there's a creek or a stream, you know, look in the direction of the creek or stream too. So a lot of times they'll head for water if they're wounded like that. I found a couple of deer already that were bedded by streams. I found one a couple of years ago. It was in the early muzzleloader season. It came down and lay by the lake. I lay right next to the lake. But yeah, you know, it's a big part of archery hunting is tracking. That's a big part of it. It's freaking, that to me is why archery hunting is like the ultimate. It's close range. You have to have everything right. Everything has to work out, you know, has to work your way. And you hit that, it's only half of that hunt is making that shot. The other half of the hunt is tracking that animal, you know, making a good shot, tracking that animal and finding it. But there is no better feeling. There is no better feeling. It's quite a rush. It's quite a rush. And that's what makes people come back and do it every year, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time away from other things. You know, time away from your wife and your kids, your family, whatever your situation is. It's time away from doing stuff at the house. It's a lot of work, and it takes up a lot of time. But it's worth it. It's worth it. All right, got other work to do. Let's be on our way.